Happy Camper Radio, episode 24. Come on, let's go camping. Hello, everybody, and welcome back once again to the Happy Camper Radio Show. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper. And you, my friends, can be one too. The weather's starting to turn a little on the cool side in our region. And Daniel, I have a funny feeling that fall is just around the corner.
It usually happens like that.
You know, I'm just surprised that the leaves have not started turning colors yet. I mean, that's why I'm just sitting here so anxiously awaiting.
They're falling in my yard. I don't know if you've
Well, I'm not
noticed
talking about the leaves falling. I'm talking about them turning colors and staying on the trees for a while. You know, that fall foliage and that cool temperature, that cold front that moves on in. I mean, this is, to me, ideal camping weather.
Yeah, that's when we go on vacation every year. We just happen to be going down to Florida this year.
And right about the time you're coming back, I will be going out.
Wow.
Yes, I've got two trips planned. I've got one in October and one in November.
Oh.
And I am really looking forward to it.
Where are you going?
I am going to go back to my normal spot up in North Georgia.
Boring.
Not boring to me because, I'm anywhere about 50 miles outside of metro Atlanta. There are mountains.
That you're cut off?
There are mountains. It is quiet. It is peaceful. 2-lane highways, sometimes dirt roads. Right. And that's fine by me.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's where I'm going to be.
Okay.
It's something I'm really looking forward to. 404-537-CAMP is our phone number here at Happy Camper Radio. You can give Daniel and I a call anytime, day or night. If you want to email us, and Daniel, I'm going to go ahead and let you do the introduction here on the new email that we have set up for you. Now, if Daniel, if you want to get any fan mail, how can our fans reach you?
Daniel at happycamperradio.com.
How simple was that?
But only trolls. You can only troll me. Only bad emails. I want everything you have to say about Skip, send it to me because he's a sensitive soul.
You want our fans to say bad things about me and send them to your email address.
Exactly.
No.
Then I can talk to your roommate and we can discuss.
Roommate. Yeah. Okay. On that note, I'm going to go ahead and get the campfire started. I am so excited about this.
Speaking of later camping, we're thinking about going up to that campground we mentioned a couple weeks ago up near Charlotte because there's a Renaissance fair right near there, and they do a Renaissance fair in late October.
That was the one we were talking about in North Carolina.
Yeah, that seemed really cool.
About an 8-hour drive from here. I might join you on that.
Yeah, I got to figure out how to get the wife to maybe convince her boss to give her some days off.
That ought to be easy to do.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I have confidence in you.
Okay, thank you.
But hey, anyway, if you want to go ahead and reach out to us on social media, that's very easy to do. Also, first of all, go to our webpage, which is www.happycamperradio.com. And you can hit the contact us button, and Daniel and I can both pick up that email right there. Also, if you want to, you can follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker, like us on Facebook, and catch up with us on Google+. And that you can make that all happen right there on our homepage at happycamperradio.com. Daniel, this is going to be an exciting show today, something you weren't even expecting. For the first time on the Happy Camper Radio Show, the forest meets the pavement.
That's a good way to put it.
This is the one time of the year when all of our football fans that are campers load up in their motorhomes, their RVs, their fifth wheels.
I've never seen
their travel trailers. They're pop-up campers.
There you go. Now you're talking my language.
And wonderful people like myself who just bring their tent along. They head off of the main path onto the pavement and head down to the nearest coliseum or football stadium to cheer on their favorite team. We're talking about tailgating and camping today here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. And joining us in the studio is somebody we met back when we did the Great American Backyard Campout. She is the expert party planner. She is a very famous tailgater.
Oh,
So
yeah?
she tells me. And she is with us here at the campsite today. Her name is Lori. Lovely Lori. How are you today, Lori?
Good evening, happy camper fans.
You having a great time?
I am, yes. Thank you so much for having me, Skip.
Well, hey, I
and
appreciate you coming and joining us, And I know you're a big football fan because you asked me to help you start decorating and getting all set for the upcoming football season, which, just got kicked off here a couple days ago.
That's right. I gave Skip a directive when I went to work last Saturday, and I said, when I get home, this house better be Gatorized. And let me tell you, happy camper fans, this awesome guy last year, when we had a huge Georgia-Florida party at our house, which is like the big SEC party of all time, the world's largest cocktail party as they refer to it, Skip made me a sign, a wooden sign that says, "Welcome to the Swamp." And for those of you that are not familiar with the Florida Gators, our home field is called the Swamp, and I was just tickled pink over the sign. And when I came home from work Saturday, that Swamp sign was up, my Florida flag was up, and my Florida banner was over the Flatty TV, and life was good.
Now, why the Florida Gators?
Hello.
Okay, and you're from Florida naturally.
I am a
okay.
Florida girl. Yes,
All
exactly.
Right. So we're not gonna miss a season this year.
Why not
of course.
Florida State? Would you not reach for Florida State or Miami? Why the Gators?
Daniel.
Hello?
Hello. I went to UF.
Oh, okay.
All right, so that answers that.
Exactly.
Now, Lori, I understand you have attended a number of tailgating events down at the University of Florida, or should I say at the Swamp?
Well, actually, yes. I've attended a few at the Swamp. I've attended few at number 1 Buck Place, because I'm also a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, because I am a total Florida girl. And to just totally round out the whole tailgating experience, I have actually tailgated only once at Daytona for NASCAR, because tailgating is not just football, it's also NASCAR.
It goes to show you right there that there are campers in all walks of life. You can find them in the woods, you can find them at campgrounds, you can find them at NASCAR, and you can find them at football games. Now, I gotta stand up here right now and say I have never camped out at a tailgating event, and for that matter, I have really never attended a tailgating event, but I have a little experience with them. And I'll tell you what that is. Back in my days, I'm going to talk about a previous life now where, I wore the badge, I wore the uniform. I used to do security at a local arena down here, or should I say a local stadium. And I was traveling each and every Sunday to that event. And the place that they had law enforcement parking was on the other side of the parking lot where the tailgating was going on. So I had to shortcut every time through this tailgating party to get to the stadium.
And did you party with them, Skip?
I can't tell you how many times I was invited to just forget about working that day and come on over here and party with us.
I bet you were.
I can't tell you, and I've got to admit too, these are great people. Just like you can meet great people. You can meet great people at the campground. You can meet them at tailgating parties too. But just about every place I passed, every parking spot that I passed where there was a tailgating event going on, somebody was offering you food. Somebody wanted to carry on good conversation. And some of these folks would show up a day or two in advance.
Honey, that's how tailgaters roll. We share our good stuff with you.
And and the camping part is something that I think I would enjoy very much. Now, earlier today, Daniel had an opportunity to talk with somebody who specializes in, what is it, Daniel, parking?
Yeah, they're a parking authority that is headquartered up in Illinois. I think it's called parkingwiz.com or something. I talked to a guy named Mark, and he told me a little bit about the whole podcasting experience.
Well, I'll tell you what, Daniel, let's check out that interview we had with him right now, okay?
All right.
All right.
everyone, and this is Daniel from Happy Camper Radio, and I'm here with Mark from Park Whiz, and he's going to tell us a little bit about tailgating. Hey, Mark, how are you today?
Doing great. How you doing, Daniel?
I'm doing great. So tell me a little bit about your business. What do y'all do at Park Whiz?
ParkWhiz.com is an online parking marketplace where folks can book parking in advance for major events. Obviously, some of the most major events in the country are NCAA and NFL football, which are hotbeds for game day and game weekend tailgating.
Okay, and could you tell the tailgating thing? Like, I've seen trucks, I've seen RVs, I've seen even campers out of these lots. I mean, are there different price ranges? And, like, how long can they stay? Can they camp overnight? How does that work?
And that's actually a great question because every tailgating location is going to have their own rules. But in answer to your question, some tailgates are just, they might start at 6 a.m. and run through after the game. Other tailgating locations might start on Wednesday afternoon. It depends on what the fans are looking for and what the facility provides. But facilities will have tailgating just for cars that might put a tent up behind their car and tailgate for the day, or people might roll in with a huge RV and spend the week.
Okay, and in your opinion, who are the biggest tailgaters? Is it college football, NFL, or NASCAR?
Well, it's a funny question because you think tailgating, I always thought football, and I think personally NCAA football is the best tailgating atmosphere. But I do also believe right now, NASCAR racing has such a huge and devoted following. I think that is probably the biggest tailgating atmosphere in America right now.
Okay, that's interesting. I wasn't expecting that. I figure college football, because you're associated with a college, you went to that college, you're the alumni, so you'd be more pumped about seeing your team, win or whatever. But another question was, what kind of food? I know there's always burgers and fries and hot dogs like that, but are there any specialized stuff? I mean, like, I know down here in the South, we love our chili, and we have the Varsity right down the street, but we love our hot dogs and stuff. But is there any difference between like the areas around the country?
Yeah, absolutely. You'll get regional cuisine at almost any tailgate. I mean, down in Texas football games, they'll probably be cooking pigs on a spit. I know up at the University of Maine, they might be boiling lobsters. At Boston College, you might be able to get some of the local chowder. It's certainly a very regional cooking activity for tailgating events.
So would you say this would be a perfect time for the different cultures? Say, your team's from the South and you're playing a team from the North. Maybe you could trade recipes and indulge in the local food.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the really cool things about college football and even pro football tailgating, the atmosphere is normally a very friendly atmosphere. So if you're, let's say you're coming up from the University of Alabama to a Notre Dame. Well, actually, Oklahoma's playing Notre Dame in a couple weeks. Notre Dame fans, for the most part, will welcome them. They'll befriend them. I mean, you're going to have your friendly jibs and jabs, but the people from Oklahoma might have their barbecue. Sure, they're going to share it with the people up in Notre Dame. I mean, college football and pro football tailgating, while there is animosity, for the most part, it's a very friendly atmosphere.
Okay. And what about NASCAR? I mean, how does that work? Does everyone for a certain racer stay on one side, everyone for another race, or is it just everyone have fun and everyone, they have their guy, but it doesn't really matter as much as, say, college football or NFL?
I would say you're exactly right, and I'm speaking completely secondhand because I've never been to a NASCAR race, but I've heard amazing stories.
Oh, okay.
I mean, bottom line, it's, to my understanding, just a huge party.
Okay.
And everyone is there. They don't care who you're pulling for in the race. They're just there to have a good time before, during, and after the racing event.
Okay, now I have a question. With all these RVs and everything, I'm guessing there's no water or power hookup. They just bring their own water and power. Is that correct?
Yeah. I would say about 75% correct. There are going to be tailgating locations with hookups, but they're not that prevalent. And
Okay.
you're going to pay, if you do find them, you're probably going to pay a little bit extra for that as well, but they are out there.
Okay, well, I appreciate you taking your time out from your day to talk to us at Happy Camper Radio, and thank you for your time, Art.
Absolutely. And just one last plug, tell your listeners to check out parkwiz.com for parking at all major events throughout the United States.
Thank you very much.
All right, you have a great day.
You too.
Well, Daniel,
Yeah.
I tell you what, you did okay.
Yeah, it was a great time.
I am really, really proud of you. You know, you did a great interview with Mark there. And Mark, I want to take an opportunity to thank you for joining us here on the program. That's parkwiz.com. Look them up on the web, and if you can't seem to find them, we're going to have a link to their homepage right on our website at happycamperradio.com. Just go to Skip's Corner and click on the links button. Now, getting back to what we were talking about, tailgating. Lori, you know, you have been to a lot of these events. Have you ever catered any of these events?
You know, pretty much my catering experience was at the house when I had people coming over. But I got to tell you, Skip and Daniel, some of these events at the tailgating is just like off the charts. There are people that bring grills that are on trailers. They have some of the most elaborate portable setups I've ever seen in my life.
Hey, I can attest to that fact because I have actually seen some of these grills that are hooked onto the back of a pickup truck. And I mean, these are very long trailers. And I mean, they have one big operation going on there when they start preparing food out there. And they're not just cooking for a couple of people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My next door neighbor back in Florida, he had a little catering business, a little grill business, and he had this monstrously huge custom-made grill that was on a trailer. And when I say a trailer, I'm talking a trailer. It had the wheels under it, and he just hooked it up to his truck. Actually, he had like 3 of them. And off they would go. And actually, he catered quite a few events for the University of Florida.
Okay, well, here's my question. Okay, you got your eating. You're talking about, you're talking about the game and all. Is there anything else that you do at a tailgating party? Is there like any games or anything involved? Or?
Yeah, actually, there are. I mean, there are a lot of games. And what's really funny is Skip, what was it, like 2 weeks ago on Brett Michaels' custom RV show.
Oh, wow. I love that program.
Yeah, I know. I do too. Well, I got you hooked on it. Thank you very much. He takes these RVs and he customizes them. And there was this couple from Kentucky. So they were Kentucky fans. And he took their ratty old thing. Daniel, if you could have seen this, you would have flipped. Okay, the back end of this thing popped up with a big widescreen TV, and then they had these pullouts. And yes, they have games. They have, it's not like your typical backyard games. They're modified a little bit, obviously, for the space. But yeah, there are games. I mean, you've got TVs. There's all kinds of entertainment. And the social aspect of this is just amazing because you meet people from all over the place, and you're going to meet your rivals, and they're really nice people.
You know, what really would fascinate me. Now, I've got to say, I have never camped out at a tailgating event, but if I ever do, I would have to attend there. I would have to be there probably 3 or 4 days in advance. I cannot see setting up camp, setting up a tent the day before the event, and then packing up and tearing down the day of after the game, especially if your team has lost, because you're going to be all bummed out by then anyway and just taking off. You know, there's a lot that goes into preparing for an event like this. I'm talking from taking off work to getting to your destination to knowing where you're going to park, knowing what you're going to prepare for dinner. There's a lot going on there, and I would have to have at least 2 or 3 days there.
Well, then, Skip, you want to go to the infield at NASCAR because that's the big tailgating party.
Okay, that may very well happen. We have the Atlanta Motor Speedway down here, and you want to talk about camping out at a NASCAR event. That is massive.
I think they have a campground down there.
They do.
Yeah.
They do, and people get there days in advance. And and it is a big party and festive event, just like the tailgating at a sporting event. But I would probably be a fish out of water if I had showed up there, because I can recall, and this is just from memory now, going to some of these events downtown and seeing the RVs and the motorhomes and some of these tents that are attached to the bed of your pickup truck. Those have already fascinated me on several occasions. But I would probably be the only one there who would set his tent up on the pavement.
Probably.
And my only, I would enjoy it. I would have fun. I would socialize, because I am a nice kind of guy. But, I'd be a little bit reserved, and I'll tell you why. Because I would fear that the color of my tent would be the colors of the opposing team. And I probably would get we call it the evil eye.
You might want to do some research next time.
But if you're going to a NASCAR event, you pretty much don't have to worry about
I
that.
don't have to worry about that. But I know, hey, like you and your Florida Gators, it's all, orange and blue?
Well, thank God your tent is blue, Skip.
All right, just maybe
It's not burgundy. If it was burgundy, you might
it would be burned, baby, burned.
But I'll tell you what, that's one of the fun things that I can really get into, and that's probably the only way that you're going to get me away from the campground and out of the forest is by going to one of these events. And this is the time of the year to make that happen.
Daniel, I think we have a challenge.
Ooh.
Hey, and you want to know something? And talking about good food, and I think that's what the whole bottom line is. And we were talking when Daniel was doing his interview with Mark there, and you were talking about some those menus and some of the food that is cooked, and it all depends on what part of the country you're in. Like he was talking about up in Baltimore, they got you might get a bowl of chowder up there where you wouldn't get that down here.
Yeah.
Skip, do you know that Southern Living magazine, excuse me, does an entire pullout every year at football season strictly on tailgating?
Is that where you get it from?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, well, of course, I read Southern
It's in
Living.
our blood, Skip.
No, yeah, it's in my blood.
Okay. But hey, and I've got to say this, and in putting a feather in her hat, Daniel, I mean, she did an awesome job of preparing a menu before we kicked the show off.
Oh, yeah, our little catering.
You want to know something? We're going to have to put this on the website for folks to take a look at this week.
People, it was a mini tailgate. It was no big deal.
Right.
No big deal. I'm stuffed. How about you, Daniel?
I'm good.
Check
You're
back
good.
with me later in football
You
season,
haven't even
and
touched
you'll
the
see the real
cupcakes over
thing.
here. You haven't even touched the cupcakes.
Yeah,
we still
Daniel.
got
I'm not much
still
of a
got a few
dessert
treats
guy.
over
But you're a
there.
Gator fan. Eat the cupcakes.
The bottom
I'll
line,
eat the
Daniel is saying
cupcake.
Daniel is not admitting that he's full.
I
Okay.
am full. I just.
We'll see if a couple of those cupcakes disappear after the show.
Yeah.
But we're talking about tailgating. We're talking about camping today here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. And we're just having a great time here at the program. And I want to remind everybody once again, you can visit us on the web at www.happycamperradio.com. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker, and keep in touch with us on Google+. Just click on any one of those fancy little icons right there on our homepage, and there you'll put you right in touch with us. It's time now for our featured campground of the week right here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. And speaking of the University of Florida,
Woohoo!
if it were me,
Chomp chomp.
if it were me, and I was going to go down to the swamp
And you will.
And I will. And I will.
You're darn right you will.
And if I'm going to party with that crowd down there, and I've seen that crowd on TV, and that looks like a good group of people to be around.
You ain't seen nothing yet, honey.
I am going to probably want to go down there a few days ahead of time. Now, I'm not going to camp out in the parking lot by myself waiting for everybody else to arrive.
Are you
but
taking the dog and I?
Are you going to camp?
Are you bringing the dog and I with you?
I told you, Skip, that's the only way you're going to get it to happen.
If it's going to happen, it's going to happen in Florida, yeah. But I will probably want to go to a nearby campground. And you want to know something? I found an excellent one down there that is just about an hour away from the swamp, and it's Juniper Springs Recreation Area in Florida. It is just located to the east of Ocala, and this is a great campground. Their season runs all year long. Juniper Springs Campground is one of the most popular campgrounds in the Ocala National Forest, and they have got a lot of amenities down there, an abundance of wildlife in that area, including alligators.
Chomp, chomp.
Lori's going to bring one home. Yeah,
You're darn right I am. I'm going to show these dogs a thing or two.
And I'll tell you what, alligators down, of course, no, I'm not going to. I wouldn't even think about feeding them. I'll probably snap a quick picture and run. But they've got turtles, deer, black bear, turkey, raccoons, numerous species of birds, and I'm a bird watcher, okay? And they've got an uncommon species like the albino gray squirrel, the river otter, and American eels. You can find it all right down there in Florida. And like I say, it is the Juniper Springs Recreation Area. Check them out on the website. Check out a number of their amenities they have out there too. It's all on the website, and it's under the featured campground tab this week on the Happy Camper Radio Show. Now, Daniel, you may have a problem, okay? Because they don't have full hookups.
What?
Which means you probably would have to buy one of those quiet generators. But you want to know something? If you went this time of the year, you wouldn't have to worry about that air conditioner.
Oh, I would definitely have to worry about that air conditioner.
You think so?
Yeah, it's still
hot down
in
there.
Florida.
When we go down to Disney, we will be pumping that air conditioner.
The problem is here, I have been, up in the north, I have been accustomed to the fall temperatures, which to me are just right. And that works out well for me. Mm-hmm. But you're probably right, especially somebody who's a native Floridian, who's been down there, who knows the heat probably better than anybody else. It probably is going to be a little bit on the hot side. But that's something you need to keep in mind. In other words, you want to bring a sleeping bag with you, Daniel, and you don't use that anyway. You use a quilt.
That's right. I have my quilt behind me. My world famous quilt.
But yeah, if anything to make yourself comfortable, you just don't want to wake up in a big sweat in the middle of the night. I think that pop-up camper of yours would do great, both at the campground and also at the tailgating party.
Yeah, that'd be
and like I said, this particular campground here is located just south of the Gainesville area. It's about an hour's drive away. Go on down there, and you can camp out for a couple days right before the big game. It's the Juniper Springs Recreation Area in Florida. It is our featured campground of the week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. And as always, if you have a campground that you would like Daniel and I to feature on the program, by all means, drop us an email, either by going to the website at www.happycamperradio.com. You can send it directly to me, Skip at Happy Camper Radio, or
Daniel at Happy Camper Radio.
There you go, okay? And by all means, make sure that you include a link to the campground's website so we can feature it right there on our homepage. And Daniel, that's about going to wrap things up for you and I here on the program. Lori, I want to take a great opportunity here to thank you for not only preparing a great dinner for us right before the program here, and Daniel, you had Deidre over here. She saw you put on the headphones, and she knew right then and there it was time for you
to get to business.
To get to business. It's time for her to hit the road.
That's funny.
I know you wouldn't like that. But anyway, once again, we're talking about tailgating and camping today. It's a great episode, something to think about. And by all means, check us out on the web anytime at www.happycamperradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Camp Shocker, and check us out, add us to your circles in Google+. The Happy Camper Radio Show is a presentation of Skip Huber Productions. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper. And no doubt about it, my friends, you too can be one also. You're listening to Happy Camper Radio.